Hi, this is Heidi from Garden Crossings, and it's time for another garden tour here at the Garden Center. It is mid-end October right now, and definitely we've had some pretty good hard frosts at this point, so a lot of the annuals are really starting to look very tired. So in this walk through the tour, things we're going to see are shrubs that have beautiful fall color, as well as annuals that are being removed. And then also some trimming and maintenance that's been done also on some of the shrubs and perennials, just to give you an idea of what you should be doing in your garden this time of year. So let's go ahead and take a walk through the gardens here at Garden Crossings. So about maybe it's been 4 weeks ago now, time flies when you're having fun, we ripped out all the petunias and all the annuals that were here at the front of the garden center. We wanted to do a little fall transformation. That way, as our garden center guests came in, they could have a little fall inspiration of what maybe they wanted to do in their landscape as well as in their containers. So in the aqua pots, we did a bright garden mum as the center focal point, and then around it we did some cabbage, some sedum, marigolds, there's some heuchera in there, some celosia, just a lot of our fall kind of flowering annuals and perennials. Heuchera, obviously that's a perennial, and that's this beautiful leafy plant there. That's one that can get planted in the landscape once these fall planters are done once we hit winter. Down here in the ground, again, we did a lot of that same things with the garden mums, the marigolds, kale, celosia, but we also added in some shrubs and heuchera or corabels just to give us a little bit of winter interest as well once all the rest of these annuals kind of peter out. So we have the mahogany monster heuchera, and we just kind of did like a little waving pattern here through the bed. The perennials are the shrubs actually we used the Montana moss juniper, and that's just kind of a nice ground cover, a little silvery look there. So that will look nice in the winter. That'll get removed next spring when we put our annuals back in, but that'll be good here for the winter time. This is golden ticket. It's a privet. Beautiful golden leaves. This isn't going to necessarily be evergreen, but it does hold its leaves for quite a while in the season, so that will stay nice. So when we did plant the mums in this space, you can see we have some mums that are like fully in bloom right now and just looking absolutely in their prime and gorgeous, but we wanted to make for sure that we had mums blooming a little bit later as well, so we planted some that were just in bud. So when we chose our mum varieties this year, we chose varieties that bloom kind of early, mid, and later in the season. That way, depending on when people wanted color in their garden, there'd always be a fresh round of mums ready and in bloom. Here's another one of our aqua pots. We put a pennisetum grass there in the back, that's vertigo. And then you can see that beautiful garden mum, just really a nice focal point in this pot, along with black pearl heuchera, some celosia, some snapdragons. We even did a little bit of pepper in there just to give kind of a little interesting look as well. So just really a nice bright splash of fall color. We were so ready for this transformation, so really happy once we got this all put in and just had that really solid feeling of fall. We do still have some evidence of summer, so we'll go take you for a look at those things. Right now we're heading over to the Bobo hydrangeas, which are in the middle of our parking lot. And if you've watched any of our tours from earlier in the season, and if you haven't, I encourage you to do so. These Bobos have been just gorgeous since I think it's been about the end of July, beginning of August. So right now they certainly are at their fall, end of season look. Still a lot of really pretty magenta going on in there, but you are seeing some browning as well, and that's from the frost. It just kind of makes the flowers look not as vibrant and pretty as what they look before the frost settles in. I must say though, even with the frost, these Supertunia Vista Hot Pink still look fabulous, and they're not giving it up. So it's hard to pull something out when it looks so beautiful. But we are in the process in the next week going to go through and get rid of all the annuals. Also, there's a few little meteor shower verbena in there, still holding on and looking great. We did leave one section in our parking lot plantings up by the front of the building in. And basically this is an area that customers really walk past when they walk into the garden center. So that's why we left it. We just wanted to see how long things would last. This is the brand new for 2022 Supertunia Vista Jazzberry. Rod's gonna predict that Vista Jazzberry is gonna overtake Supertunia Bubblegum in sales. This way we have it noted and marked. So who knows, maybe it'll never happen, but he's fairly confident that Jazzberry is a great enough plant that it has the potential to take over bubblegum in sales at some point. We'll see, time will tell, but I agree, like this is just done fabulous all year long. Lemon coral sedum is lining the border there, and it's holding on too really nicely for this late in the season. In this aqua pot here, we have a palm tree doing pretty good for even getting hit by the frost here in Michigan. Some diamond mountain euphorbia, coleus that surprisingly still looks well, because coleus is like the first thing. Coleus and sweet potato vine, those are indicator plants that you got hit by frost. Both of them are doing pretty good, and I think it's because it's closer to the building, that maybe there's enough heat coming off the building that it was just enough protection that it didn't get hit too bad by the frost. Moving along, we're going to go take a look here at the new plant bed. And I think this is kind of interesting. A lot of these annuals, how well they've done even this late in the season. So here we are, a zone 5B, 6A in Michigan. Usually annuals are done looking really good by, usually by Labor Day. We're kind of like, nah, annuals are done, time for the fall transformation. But things have done pretty good this year. So in front of us, this plant I just cannot say enough about. New for 2023 is the Begonia Surefire Cherry Cordial. Check out the size of that plant. Now I think there's 2 or 3 of them planted there, but it's over 3 foot tall. Beautiful dark black glossy foliage and the nice cherry red blooms. Definitely a great plant if you're looking for some mass color and impact. This plant does the job, and it's still doing great even after the cold here we've had in Michigan. In the back there, Alstroemeria Inca Ice, that is a perennial. One of the longest blooming perennials in the garden. Starts sometime in May and goes well until, well, here we are, mid to late October, and it's still going strong. So it takes a really good hard frost for this plant to go down. Some of the other new plants for 2023 is the Bright Lights Horizon Osteosperma. Not looking great, and I'm not showing you these and telling you that they are looking great. I'm just showing you so you can see this time of year that they're still holding on, and really they don't need to be. As it cooled off a little bit, the Horizon Bright Lights really kicked in its flower power and started to give up more flowers. So this is an osteo that does bloom all summer. It can handle the sun, but it likes the cooler temperature just a little bit more. So you do notice that it's blooming in the summer, but then the blooms really take off again in the fall with more flower color. Let's see, tucked here in the back, there is some of the new Aromance Mulberry Nemesia. I've been really impressed with that beautiful purple plant this year. Typically Nemesia is one of those plants that blooms early in the spring, early summer. It gets hot and it just kind of peters out. That is definitely not the case here with Aromance Mulberry. This plant has been gorgeous all summer long, no matter how much heat that it's been thrown, that's been thrown at it. So a great new addition for 2023. This planter here is still doing good with a rockin' blue salvia. Super boughs are looking a little tired. So is the Medusa coleus. In the back there, another new for 2023, sweet potato vine, Sweet Caroline Upside Black Coffee. So this is a really excellent plant. I've seen people plant it just on a trellis as kind of a focal point in the garden, and it is done gorgeous. You can see here, I love kind of how there's that kind of a bicolorness going on to the leaves, the darkness, but a little bit of green. And this has happened now that it's later in the season. but really a beautiful plant that is an upward vining sweet potato vine. New for 2023 is the Plectranthus Swedish Ivy. Just kind of a nice little ground cover or something that you can put in containers. It's spread a little bit, but not too bad. But just a nice variegated foliage plant, and really that's the only reason you're growing it is for foliage. Sweet potato vine and the Coral Sun Super Bells doing fabulous. Supertunia Mini Vista Scarlet doing really nice as well. Supertunia Persimmon looking a little tired, but that's done really nice too, and it's a really beautiful color. We're going to use a lot of that in our containers for next year. The Pugster Butterfly Bush, nice and purple. Daisy May is still putting on a few blooms. Another Pugster Butterfly Bush. And there's a duplicate of the container we just saw. Down below it, I should show you the Dianthus Paint the Town Fancy. Now this plant blooms primarily like spring, early summer, but all year long it's had blooms like this. So it does its mass bloom early on, but still gives you little surprises throughout the summer. Nephofia Backdraft up against the fence there. That one's just continued to throw up shoots throughout the fall. Beautiful candy corn looking flowers. I love the texture Nephofia adds out into the garden. We're kind of seeing a lot of repeat of some of the plants we've already talked about, so I'm just kind of walking past, but it gives you another idea of how they look in a different setting. I mean, I could show you the best plant and make you think that that's the best plant, but here you're seeing it 2 or 3 different times, and you can see how it does in the different spaces. Atlas Rose, this is one of my favorite roses. Beautiful coral orange flowers, super fragrant, self-cleaning, just a really beautiful addition. I'm not really an orange person, but I love that one. Firelight Tidbit. This has stayed very compact, and I'm hoping it continues. It's been in the ground, I think we've gone 1 full season with Firelight Tidbit. It's about 2 foot tall and about 2.5 foot wide. It's past its prime right now, but you can see how it had the beautiful magenta blooms. And really for the small plant, that's a lot of flowers in its first season. Serendipity, allium. We'll see how far I get. It looks like it's going to start raining, so this might be a 2-part video, but we'll see how far I can get before it starts to rain. New for this year, this is a picture plant. It's called Bug Bat. This is a new variety we're going to carry next year. It likes being in swampy areas. It's basically a meat eater. It eats bugs, but really beautiful. I didn't know what this plant would do, and I wasn't really sure if I was going to love it. But man, this plant has really surprised me and is really gorgeous in this garden. So this garden bed we have removed pretty much all the annuals out of if they weren't looking great. So there's a lot of open space in here compared to the last video. We've got the Mint to Be Royal Raspberry Agastache still giving a lot of blooms. Pearl Glam is just starting to berry up. This plant I am so excited to have here in the collection. I love the little purple berries. All right, like I said, I might be getting wet here. I think I hear thunder, but we're going to keep going. True gardeners keep going, right? Here we have the Berry Poppins Winterberry, looking really pretty. I can't wait till it loses its leaves and all those bright red berries show. I mean, they show now, but once it loses its leaves, it's going to be really cool. Daisy May, Leucanthemum, still giving us a few flowers. And the thunder rolls. Here we have the new Lantana for 2023. Another new agastache. This is the meant to be Queen Nectarine, kind of a pale peachy orange color. There's some more. There's actually a lot of it planted in through here. Aronia is just starting to color up. This is going to turn bright reddish orange once it continues to do its fall change. The blush hydrangeas, they well past their prime, but still looks pretty with the leftover flowers. Another winterberry looking just as beautiful as the other. I should show you this too. This is the Cypress Queen Tut. Now I know it looks kind of brown and yellow right now because it got hit by frost, but I just love the plant. I love the little tufts that it has, and the size of it. It's gotten pretty big over the summer. I also use this in containers, and it did really well in the containers as well. Oh my, look at there. Irises. They don't bloom this time of year, but they are just loaded with buds. What a fun surprise. See, gardens are such a plethora of surprises. Beautiful Pennisetum, desert plains grass, kind of taking on a little fall look there. And then here is another one of those meat-eating plants. And we're going to be carrying this one next year as well. I don't have the name of this one here, so we'll put that one up on the screen. That's Bug Bat, the thicker one. And then I want to say this is like, I don't know, I think these maybe even are called picture plants, but we'll be able to put it on the screen so you'll be able to know exactly what these fun plants are that are good for wet little areas. So I am going to end here because the thunder is really kicking in and I want to get inside. But how we'll end this video is I'm just going to give you a sneak peek into the next project that we have going on. So last winter, we added on a ton of greenhouses, like all the way down to the end of the sidewalk there. And I don't know why we didn't do this last year, but we didn't. So this year we're adding on just one more hoop. And it's going to give us just a little bit more space here. It's like, as long as we have the space, let's finish this area off. So that will be a project. I think the greenhouse is supposed to come next week. So I don't know when the project will actually get started, but this will be the next project that we have going on. And then what Rod is envisioning is kind of creating like a retaining wall that's going to drop down, and then we'll level out the area between where the greenhouse ends and that new flower berm that we put in last year begins. And ideally he'd like to create like a little park feeling, a little park setting. So we'll see how that ends up. You know, you have to dream to make it a reality. So right now that's what the dream is, but we'll see what it turns out to as a reality once we get working on that project. So definitely something to stay tuned to as to what we're going to be doing and how it's going to look. But I'm really excited for just creating a little park area in this part of the greenhouse, because this has been like construction zone for the last 2 years. So it'll be nice to just have it finished off and looking beautiful. So I'm going to sign off for today. Thanks for watching and walking through the gardens with me today. We will continue this garden tour. Stay tuned for a few more days or so, and we'll get you the remainder of the garden tour, where we'll feature this new berm and see kind of how it's doing. We'll feature the 55-mile-an-hour garden, as well as the waterfowl berm and the berm there on the far north side. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more of the garden tour. This is Heidi from Garden Crossings. So due to the thunder and the rain that is quickly approaching, I will be talking more about the trimming and the removal of the plants in the second part of this video. So stay tuned for part 2, as we will talk more about trimming and removal of plants. So I made it inside with just minutes to spare. It is so windy and so rainy right now.